All right. I guess I'll pull over for the video intro.
How big are you?
I probably shouldn't answer that on the call. Melanie Wiseman just got destroyed on the tennis court, by the way.
Where were you?
Hey guys, welcome to Long Shots TV. I'm your host, the Rhino, and we've got a very special show tonight. We're going to be all about poker. In with us tonight is, I noticed she changed her Twitter page, but slave to a love-hate relationship with poker, anti-up ambassador for Philly AC, big fan of rice. It used to say I eat rice every day. Joe Kim, how you doing, Joe?
Hi, thanks for having me, Tony.
Oh, no problem. I see you changed that. Why did you change that?
Just my boyfriend said, sounds kind of weird you eat rice every day. And I just thought, I am a big fan of rice, so I figured that, maybe that rolls off the tongue a little easier.
I got you. Okay. And we have a very special guest who is stuck in the LA traffic out there, pulled over to the side of the road to join us tonight. Mr. Matthew Stout is currently heading from tournament to tournament right now, and glad to have you on the show also, Matthew. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me, Tony.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Listen, guys, we've got a lot of poker players in our group. There's about a little over 8,600 members. There's a few others in our main group that play, just casually. I play a little bit myself. I haven't played so much since I've started the show, but love to talk poker and love to see what's going on and keep up to date on players and the tournaments. There's a lot going on. Guys, first question I've got for you is, it seems like since poker has really blown up, we've got a lot of other little tournaments now coming into play that the average public hasn't really heard about, such as, well, Joe, you're the ambassador for Anti-Up and AC Philly. What exactly does that mean?
Well, I cover mostly what's going on in the East Coast area, specifically Atlantic City and Philadelphia, which is a great region to be an ambassador for now because it's picking up. A lot of people, great players, are moving to Philly. The tournaments are picking up, a lot of entrants, popularity is rising still. And, through all this popularity, there's going to be new tournaments, new structures, and new series. And we also have new poker rooms coming up.
Okay, tell us about the new poker rooms.
Well, unfortunately, Taj has left us after, I'm not sure how long they've been open. I know they were, the brick and mortar for a while in Atlantic City.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they closed, but just got bought out by Hard Rock.
That's
So,
right.
there's some hope for the Boardwalk, and also another casino coming up in Philadelphia soon. I don't really have that much info on that yet, but
Okay.
maybe in the next 2 years, it will be coming out with a new poker room.
Great. Okay.
And Sugar House
right.
has just opened, so it is booming.
Okay, and you're playing there a lot, right?
I do play Philadelphia and Atlantic City a lot. I don't do as much traveling like Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Matt's a great tournament player. He travels all the time. I can't imagine doing that, all year round. He knows more about traveling. I, however, stay in the East Coast. But anybody who's banked a big tournament, anything like that, I would have definitely spoken to, if it's in the Philly AC area.
Awesome.
Who's done? Are you
Oh.
feeling good about your answers? Confident? No.
Okay. Sorry, I had a little feedback there. Hey, Matthew, I know you're on your way to a tournament. What tournament was that you were heading to?
I'm always on my way to a tournament. This time it's
Of
the World
course.
Series This time it's the World Series of Poker Circuit main event in Los Angeles at the Bicycle Casino.
All right.
I just left WPT Bay 101 in San Jose, and after this, I'll be heading to Atlantic City for the circuit event out there, along with BorgataPoker.com's online series, and then heading to Hard Rock for their upcoming Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown after that.
Ace.
Yeah, that's in Hollywood, Florida, by Fort Lauderdale.
There you go. Okay. Looks like the WPT Shooting Star main event. Looks like you did fairly well there.
Yeah, I actually got really, really unlucky on the bubble of that event with aces all in pre, and then almost bubbled it myself. So I'm really happy with a min cash, but I'll take it in that one because I was down to my last 6 big blinds. I had 50K at 4 and 8,000 when I cashed that thing. So
wow.
Well, for 14 grand, I'll take it.
Yeah,
less than 2 starting stacks, and I cashed for twice the buy-in. It was a good day, all in all. Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, but, absolutely.
I had these delusions of grandeur where I was going to win 1.4 million.
And most of our listeners do. I'm telling you, I talk to guys all the time, and we talk poker in the group. And the one thing that you hear all the time is all about the great wins and how they beat this person or that person, and the under the gun was sitting there and re-raised me, all this kind of stuff. But they never tell you about how bad they do. I mean, Matthew, well, both of you. Matt, first of all, how many times do you get beat as a poker player?
All the time. I decided to take the masochistic approach of only playing tournaments, and so that 80 to 90% of the time I don't cash, and that even when I cash, unless I finish first, I'm always going to have some sort of regret, wishing I'd done better, et cetera, et cetera. So psychologically, I think I picked the most masochistic route I possibly could have if I wanted to play a game for a living. But I don't know. I deal with the downswings pretty well. I focus on how I've played, but I've had some crazy downswings. I've gone down $250,000
wow.
in a row for making a comeback, profiting it all back.
That's got to be tough for people to. I mean, even somebody that's been around as long as you have, to handle those ups and downs. So, what I gather from that is the psychology, the mental toughness that it takes to endure those ups and downs is got to be grueling.
For sure. And I studied business and psychology. I was double majoring in those in college, so it kind of helped a lot in terms of both managing my bankroll better, having a better understanding of variance, volatility, ROI, and how big my downswings will be based on that. Managing the side of it where you get backed or sell shares when a tournament is worth playing but too big for your bankroll. And I've always been good in general at just kind of picking my spots well, making sure that I am sort of like pedal to the metal, trying to make as much money as I can for the year, but without being too reckless, and always making sure I have a safety net. I was backed by Cliff Josephy for a long time, and he's a close friend of mine. So,
right.
My plan is if I ever go broke to just go back to being backed by him. But
there you go.
I've been playing for a living for 11 years, and I've never actually just been like penniless broke. I've been down to my last 10 grand and tell my backer like, hey, you need to loan me money or I'm not traveling around on my last 10 grand trying to win a tournament. But
yeah, that makes sense.
There's definitely been serious downswings and times where I've had financial pressure, of course, but
absolutely.
I've actually never gone broke because I'm just entirely too tight financially for that. I'll be backed long before punting away my last money.
Good.
Yeah, and Joe, what about you? I mean, as far as the ups and downs of poker, how do you stay in it? I know we talked just briefly before the show, and you had decided to do some things differently.
There's definitely ups and downs in poker. There's no doubt about it. Everybody goes through it, even the greatest players. And, a lot of it is bankroll management. I think the more comfortable you are with the money that you're playing, the better results you'll get. So something like tournaments. Like, I have a lot of respect for tournament players because it's very hard to maintain a bankroll just playing tournaments all year round. And I had to cut back the last few months because, I am going through swings, and this year actually has been really great for me cash wise. And I'm a cash player, which means I just play cash, strictly 2-5, 1-3, and average about 300, 500 a day. And
Nice.
yeah, I mean, December was rough for me, and which is why I decided to just cut tournaments altogether. I mean, I don't play as much as Matt, of course, by a lot, but I do enjoy tournaments. I would rather play tournaments, but I'm sticking to cash because I am familiar with the ups and downs, and it's just one way to, maintain a good psychological outlook, I suppose.
Yeah, that makes sense. You actually studied pre-med psychology at Temple University, or are studying there, and studied human biology at the University of Kansas. Is that right?
Yes, I did. I'm not sure if that actually helps towards poker in any way. Definitely helps in, writing skills, because I do write for Annie Up magazine.
Right.
And but as far as applying psychology, I think it really comes from experience as well.
Yeah.
Just sitting at the tables and feeling out people's tendencies, and just going with your gut feelings at times.
So let me ask you this: how much impact do you think your study so far in psychology has helped you at the table?
I'm not really sure. I mean, I don't want to say anything. I mean, I don't want players to go out and start, studying psychology or something like that.
Right.
I do think, on some level it has helped. Just, I guess, in a way, just categorizing people and getting reads through the categorization, I guess.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. That's
Okay.
why, and well, the reason.
I'm trying.
Yeah, the reason I brought it up is because Matt also has studied psychology. So, Matt, has that helped you at all?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, to some extent, it helps you understand human behavior a little bit better and people's rationale, motivation. But I think the most important part of it is having a better understanding of yourself and understanding just being able to manage your own life despite the ups and downs of poker. It's like, it's really crazy that, like, I mean, the way I compare it to a real job is like, can you imagine having like a really, really, really bad week at work, and then they just like punch you in the stomach and take 10 grand out of your pocket on your way out the door?
Right.
Like, at least with a real job, even when things go really poorly, you're probably still getting paid, and
Yeah.
paid the same amount you would on a bad week.
True.
So I love playing poker for a living, and I love the freedom of it. And I think that if I had pursued certain avenues in business, I could be making even more than I do now, even though I do well. But I wouldn't take that extra money to be in a cubicle, to be working a job where I don't have the freedom to kind of travel.
That's very interesting, because I've heard a lot of people say the exact same thing. It's just a personal, like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just the makeup of the person that allows them to do what you do. And if I'm the same way, if I had to be stuck in an office in a cubicle somewhere, I would just shoot myself, because I just couldn't handle it. It's so mundane. So I guess maybe some of the makeup of poker players is having that. It's almost like a drug, so to speak, getting that adrenaline rush and heading off to the next tournament, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, and for me, it's also something where this is the first thing I did out of college, so I never really had to have a job. I had some like crappy jobs crappy jobs in high school and like working in my campus bookstore and working in the warehouse of like a hardware company when I was in high school, just so that I would know how little I enjoyed work and how little I enjoyed authority. I've always had a problem with authority. Always like felt like a born leader, wanted to be my own boss. So I had the freedom. I've been self-employed since I was 21 and started playing for a living. Realistically,
Nice.
I was already realistically, I started at 19 and was pretty shortly after that making like a decent income to sustain myself off poker
Yeah, well, if I look at
while I was in college. But
if Hendon Mom
when I
is
turned 21, it really blew up.
okay. Well, if Hendon Mob is correct, you've got total online earnings, total live earnings of just a little over 3.5 million, and total online earnings of a little over 3.7 million. So, for a kid that's never had a job, so to speak, started at 19 and rolling along at UR, that's a pretty good living. I mean, obviously that's not the norm, but I can tell you probably wouldn't trade it for anything.
Absolutely not, especially because after I started getting a little bit bored and somewhat complacent, like I started wondering if I should move on and do something else. But then I started playing Potland in Omaha, playing Open Face Chinese, and started a charity a few years ago. And,
Nice.
So I run charity poker tournaments for Habitat for Humanity and food banks and other worthy organizations, and we have a blast and have an hour and a half of a bar pre-party. We all get smashed, and then we play a drunken turbo tournament. Usually have some celebrities there, a few gift bags, and it's just a big party, and half the prize pool gets paid out to like a regular tournament. So it's still a lot of money on the line. We had a tournament that was 15 grand for first and raised $43,000 for Southern Food Bank.
That's great.
Yeah, we had Brad Garrett come out for that event. We had Coolio there. It's just a drunken mess of a good time. I tell all my friends, like, I'll give you a money back guarantee. If you come out and it's not the best time you've ever had playing poker, then I'll just pay you your buy-in back.
Wow. Who could resist that deal?
Yeah, so
Joe, you're going to have to jump on a plane then and get out there.
I am definitely planning on going out there for Charity Series of Poker, which is what Matt does. And it's part of the WSOP series coming up in July. We'll be there partying it up.
Awesome.
Yeah, and he just had one at Borgata and won a trophy there, Matt.
yeah, I kind of accidentally won my own event at Borgata.
Oh, no.
Not how it's supposed to work. I was in for my, I don't know, my sixth bullet or something, and actually that one accidentally stuck. And,
oh, my. Well,
you know. It's,
at least
it's a weird feeling. I'm like, I'm proud of the win, but, you know, it was almost wrong. People were booing me, and I kind of agreed with them.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
People were booing you, and I agree with them.
Yeah. Okay, Joe. Joe, your tournaments or your the charities that you're working with. Was there I thought you just mentioned that there was a charity or something that you were.
Well, Annie Up does an annual charity event. Restock the Shelves. We just it's a food drive for children. Or anybody hungry across the nation, I suppose. And that was actually there for one of the two events I did in January, helping me out, getting the word out, just trying to promote anything to give back. Like we said, we are spoiled with poker, and it's just one way to, make up for, I guess, our laziness.
Well, I wouldn't call it laziness.
It's not necessarily laziness. It's like, poker's a very zero-sum predatory game, and
yeah,
it's also just not very useful in a societal sense. I feel like I'm intelligent enough and hardworking enough that if I was doing something in business and psychology, whatever, that I would be contributing to society. Like even now, like there's a chance that I'm gonna stop playing full time soon so that I can pursue one of two different business ventures, one of which would be a nonprofit that's geared toward reducing food waste.
Nice.
And you know, like I have aspirations to do things that matter. So the fact that I got to the point where I had been playing poker for several years, even though I was really enjoying it, I felt like it was sort of my duty to kind of do something that was productive as well, and that I knew I could do. I knew I could use my connections in the poker community to get a lot of synergy from the groups that I'm working with and stuff. Like the casinos that I have good relationships and everything.
Interesting.
So it was just an opportunity for me to do something that was one of my first real business venture of my own, where I'm like the president and founder of something and can learn a lot of things before I start going into for-profit ventures or bigger non-profit ventures that I'm doing full-time. And just,
Hey, poker players are
something
people too.
to have on my resume aside from gambling for a decade.
I understand that. So what we'll do, guys, after the show's over, you'll have to send me the information to the charities and the different things that you're supporting so that we can put them up on our website and our viewers can go visit those so that they can see what's going on out there. Because, it's been my feeling that poker gets a bad rap. When you watch the poker tournaments on TV, a lot of times I get a little bit frustrated because, it has its own, stigma to it as far as, well, it's not really a sport, but it's gambling, but it's, you know what I mean? So, I mean, how
Absolutely.
do you, go ahead.
I definitely go through that all the time. A lot of, I guess, I feel judgment at times too, but it's just something that we take on as poker players, and the stigma is real, but it really does have to do with more than just what you see at the table.
Right.
I just lost my train of thought.
That's okay. I understand. I wanted to touch on that because, and this is one of the things that we want to do is bring to the forefront through our show, the lives of these people that play poker for a living, because it is a sport. It's something that they've dedicated their lives to. And, there's a lot that goes into it. Study, research, math, and it's a grueling sport to play because you are traveling all over the place and you have to sit for hours and hours in a chair playing, hand after hand, jumping from table to table before you maybe get towards an end that's going to produce something. So with that being said, Joe, do you sometimes feel that the poker industry really isn't getting its due?
Yeah, I think, most of success from poker, I think, does come from studying the game. And I know I do a lot of math at the table, and a lot of probability math involved. And, all my poker friends and I, we do spend a lot of time talking about hands, analyzing hands. And that's one way to get better, is start talking about hands you play bad, or not necessarily bad, but maybe differently in some way to get the most out of it. I really do think poker, the more time you put into it, the better the outcome will be.
Sure. Do you feel the same way, Matt?
Yeah, there's definitely a ton of work involved, but I kind of like that challenge. I think a lot of people look at the game the wrong way if they don't really enjoy the challenge and don't want to study. They're gonna at best kind of stay the same, be complacent. And I mean, as the game gets tougher, it's more important to put the work in, study, make sure that even when you think you're playing well, you're running hands by friends who are better than you or on your level, and just really never get complacent with the way that you're playing. even when you're winning, you need to try to maximize and be even better than the competition. And the competitive spirit in me just loves that.
Awesome.
I know that I'm going to work harder than everyone else. And not only that, when I'm at a tough table full of like the top pros, and this just happened at Bay 101, I had a day 1B table that was probably tougher than the final table. And my friend who was at the table was texting me like, "Oh, this table draw seems real." And I thought it was funny because he's like a notoriously negative Nancy type person. And I was actually already thinking like, man, I'm actually going to learn a lot at this table from Showdown, seeing how players that are better than me play. Because I'm probably like the 100th, 200th best tournament player, but I mean, there are still a ton of people that I can learn from, and even people who aren't as good as me, I can learn from the way they play hands.
So true.
I think that if I know that they're good enough to have a good logical thought process, when they go to Showdown, I backtrack the whole hand and try to think through why they thought a certain way.
Sure.
And I know for the most part, everyone respects my game enough that if I ask them on break, like, yo, why'd you check raise the spot instead of check calling or check folding, that they're going to be happy to discuss the spot with me. So while I have like a rule about never asking someone what they had in a hand against me, I'll talk about hands they played against other people, and they're always even more eager to
Sure.
tell me the truth about what their cards are and to discuss the spot, honestly.
Okay, we've got a question that just came in, and this person wants to know what your guys' feelings are about online poker. Do you think it has a place in the gambling world too, also? So, Joe, go ahead, Matt. What's your feelings on online poker?
Well, let's see. I'm a brand ambassador for BorgataPoker.com.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and say that I do support online poker, and I do think it has a place.
Okay. Borgata plug out of the way. How do you feel personally as far as? I guess I think what the question that they're asking really is it, you know, I don't want to say this word, but is it rigged? Is it safe? You know what I mean?
It's okay. Let's break all of this down. Number one, it's absolutely necessary for the growth of live poker. It was the catalyst for the moneymaker effect. The fact that an accountant won a seat for $30-something on Poker Stars and won the main event and beat all the pros for $2.5 million is the reason why poker is as big as it is now.
True.
It is absolutely essential to the growth of the game. I would probably not be a poker pro if I wasn't able to play online in college. I would not have progressed beyond playing all my campus games and getting to the point where I was one of like the top ranked online poker players in the world. Like if that hadn't happened, I probably wouldn't have spent so much time in casinos if I hadn't already built a bankroll online. It was the only reason I was able to sustain myself and play all the stuff that I played in casinos in order to build my role to an even bigger point and become well known. There have obviously been scandals in online poker. There's collusion in online poker, but there's collusion in live poker as well. There's cheating in all forms of poker, and being, frequenting casinos and playing on sites that are trustworthy is the essence of it. People were still playing Ultimate Bet and Absolute Poker back in the day, and I mean, when two sites that both had major cheating scandals, that's one of them, at least one of them, was known to be an inside job, I just stopped playing on the site. So I wasn't surprised when they didn't have the money when Black Friday came. But that being said, Full Tilt Poker seemed like a reputable site, and they didn't have the money either. So there's always some risk, but now I think there's still the same risk, maybe even more so, with sites like America's Card Room and Bovada. But for people who don't have another option, I don't blame them for playing on those sites, and I think that to some extent it's going to be okay. But I think that the ones that people should really trust and hope for the growth of are the regulated online poker sites. Now, when the federal government shut down the online poker sites in an effort to make their own regulated online poker sites that had to be backed by casinos, I didn't think that it was a good thing, and it angered me from a personal freedoms type standpoint. I'm pretty liberal, etc. Um, but at the same time, when we found out that Full Tilt, who we thought was reputable, didn't have our money, I didn't mind not being able to play the Sunday Million from home every week, and I didn't mind the fact that we were going to have to sort of rebuild from scratch and play these small Nevada regulated sites, New Jersey regulated sites, where first place is going to be 10 grand, 15 grand. We're not playing for
Right.
200K, but we also know the money's going to be there.
Right.
PokerStars was the only company that I just trusted implicitly, and I was right to all along, because not only did they pay out, they paid out on behalf of Full Tilt for hundreds of millions of dollars to save the face of online poker, because they knew how important it was for their future success, which was a brilliant business move on their part, by the way.
Sure. Joe, what's your thoughts on this?
I think
Oh, I'm
people
sorry.
can trust PokerStars, and PokerStars is the most aggressive in preventing collusion and things. But I think that overall, like, it's the same as anything. Like, you got to make sure that you're playing in the right place, and that you're paying attention and doing things to keep yourself from getting cheated. I personally try to only play heads up and MTTs, because it's harder for people to collude. If you're in a 6-max cash game, 2-3 people at the table can
Right.
be sharing whole cards and colluding and doing things like that. So while that's not as prevalent as some people might think, I mean, it depends on what people think. I shouldn't say that.
True.
There's definitely a lot of it going on, but it's not happening everywhere. And just because people are colluding doesn't make a game unbeatable, by the way.
That's true.
There was actually a time when, before Black Friday, somewhere around 2008, we knew that there was a group of Russians colluding in the 100 rebuy on PokerStars, and we
Right.
had this whole discussion among a bunch of the high-stakes online players. And we were like, you know what? We're not even going to report them to PokerStars, because even though they're clearly colluding, they're still playing so poorly that we want them in there. So,
Need the money.
That's true. Joe, do you
the
say?
Russians got good after that, so then they used their psychotic aggression against us.
Oh goodness.
For a while, a lot of really bad Russian regs.
Do you feel the same way about that, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, we never like to discourage bad play or, collusion amongst bad players, because that's where the money comes from. And, Matt knows a lot more about online. He's just one of those friends I have who I know I can't talk to on Sundays, because that's the online day for everybody to be playing tournaments.
Right.
And, since I actually did get into poker after post Black Friday, and
Great timing.
yeah, great timing. I know. I do know, like, PokerStars is huge in Europe. It's bigger than it ever was in US. And yeah, and New Jersey is slowly getting there since they became legal.
Mhm.
And hopefully we'll join with Pennsylvania soon. I know it's in the works. But yeah.
Awesome. Okay. We got a question out there too. I'm not sure who this is addressed to, but I'll just ask it to both of you. What's your biggest cash?
313K.
There you go. And Joe?
13K for me.
All right. Well, now you just got to put the 3 in front of it and you're even up.
Yeah, I mean, that'll probably happen soon, maybe sometime this year.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure it will. You keep playing.
Mine should have been 506, but I forgot to win a heads-up match for a bracelet.
You forgot?
I forgot. I was up 7-1, and then I just forgot. Sometimes you forget. It happened to me.
Okay. Now, also, I've noticed at final tables, I've never seen anybody wearing, headsets and listening to music at a final table. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, they're usually not allowed.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, especially anytime it's live streamed or televised, they think it's a bad look. A lot of times we're not even allowed to have electronic devices at the table.
Interesting. Okay. All right.
So, yeah.
Okay, guys. Anything you guys would like to plug before we go?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Borgata and Hard Rock are amazing establishments. I'm lucky to be sponsored by them. I
All
don't
right.
even know why they want me representing them because they're both awesome. Tons of great tournaments out there, and I also think that people should come play my charity poker tournaments, charitySeriesOfPoker.org, and our Twitter is at the CSOP.
All right. And we will get all that information to you after the show, guys, and put it up on the site. And for you, Joe.
Let's see. If you guys out there love poker and study it enough, that's all for the best. I just love anybody who builds the image for poker instead of, putting on that stigma, crushing any dreams of people who are trying to learn and get ahead. It does happen. And, besides that, just keep your head up and stay focused, I guess is one thing I should say to those poker players out there.
All right. Sounds great.
Oh,
Go ahead, Matt.
one other thing I'd like to plug is myself. I do personal coaching. My students have won over $7 million.
Awesome.
I've coached 2 November Niners to prepare them for the main event final table, and one of my students who had less than 20 grand in cash just before he contacted me is now cashed for $1.2 million.
Nice. Wow. I wish.
Bellagio for $1 million, and I have a pretty reasonable hourly rate. People can contact me through my website at stoutpoker.com.
Awesome. Okay, guys. Well, I loved talking poker with you guys and just about the game in general. Hopefully we can have you guys on again in the future. We're going to start doing a regular monthly, hopefully, show about poker and get into it a little bit deeper and really try to promote poker through our site and through you guys as well. So I enjoyed it a lot, guys. Thank you very much for being on the show. And
Thanks,
we'll look
Tony.
forward to talking to you next time. And guys, this has been Long Shots TV. Remember to take a shot with Long Shots because we are the game.
Are we still on?
Sure.